Welcome to the Football Retro Podcast.
The word welcome, I guess, is stretching it a little when you're an Australian in a place like this today.
Hello and welcome to episode 45 of the Football Retro Podcast. I'm your host, Johnny, and everyone is back today. We've got Fatty, Yak, and Darcy. How you doing, guys?
I'm well, thanks, Johnny. Full table, we like to say, full screen.
Full screen, still in lockdown, but yeah, all good.
But yeah, back. Good to see the boys back again.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can see each other face to face sometime before Christmas.
I had no no one objecting, no one interjecting last week, so I can't miss
It was
that.
all about Arsenal, mate.
I think that was a shot at me, Fatty. Just checking though. But
I said
that's
Akram. I said Akram, I missed you because I had no one objecting or interjecting. I was very clear.
You didn't have me putting in random facts as well, so
The stat man was missing. So, big week. Lucky we decided to wait a couple of days to record this because of the transfer window. Lucky because deadline day threw in a couple of left hooks. This probably, can I say, do you guys let me say, probably the biggest window of all time?
yeah, I'd say one of it felt for me it was like playing FIFA and all these random transfers happened. You know, this guy going here, this guy going there, like playing a video game. You know, that's how crazy it was, I think.
Well, I mean, transfer deadline day was always interesting for me specifically. I'd always watch it, and the English media used to love beating it up, and it was always a big thing. And last minute and calls and everything was being made. And back in the day when they had to send telegrams or send faxes.
Yeah.
But as you said, arguably the biggest transfer window in history, because arguably the two greatest players, well, not arguably, the two greatest players of our generation, both moved in the same window.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's ever happened before, but
Are you talking about Lucas Prato going to Vélez Sarsfield back? No, that's not what you're referring to.
who watches your fucking Argentinian league that's got 17 tiers? We don't even know
fellow
who's
Argentinian.
moving.
I'm just checking. It's also big news. Football Retro releasing new products.
wow, look at
Next
that,
week.
man. That's beautiful.
Jules Rimet trophy.
I saw that on the I saw that pop up. 24 carats solid gold replica World Cup keyring for $10. You can't go wrong, guys.
That's
Even
a
if
deal.
if
That's
you don't
a deal. Wow.
get the keyring, I would suggest hold on to it. It will appreciate in value. Gold is a commodity. And mate, we're going into a cashless society, so anything that's either gold or a natural mineral is going to only appreciate.
Have you finished your
So get
sales
on.
pitch? Have you finished?
I hope you've made millions of those, Johnny, because
You really went far into this joke.
There's,
Great marketing right there.
There's limited stock available in this, and for the next few days, if you saw the Instagram post, 25% off every product on the website. So Let's start off with that Father's Day special for everyone here in Australia. We're all fathers in here now, so we'll all be celebrating next week.
What kind of discount do we get?
Yeah, you get a high five from me.
Hey,
A virtual
You
high
get
five.
25.
Sorry, so I'm sorry, Gladys. Then don't come.
There is
come
a
after me.
virtual high five. You can
Virtual
press,
high five.
raise your hand.
But yes, transfer window. Looking at the list of transfers, you forget of the early ones. It feels like because of the international tournaments, because it's been so long, it feels like 12 months ago.
Absolutely. Hey, it was incredible. Some of the players that you had mentioned before we started the podcast, like who were dealt with in July or beginning of July. That feels like such a long time ago now. They've been completely forgotten. And to be honest, I don't think there's much argument. It is the biggest transfer window we've ever seen. It was unprecedented. What was so big about it, Johnny, was how many free transfers.
That's true. Well, since you're touching on that, do you want to jump straight into the team with the biggest transfers?
I mean, I think we've got to start at the top.
So let's talk about PSG.
Yeah.
Right. Because you look at the names they brought in, and you just mentioned free transfers. You look at the names they brought in and you think, how can you afford these guys? Yes, the wage bill was massive, But a couple of years ago, if I gave you the list of names and you told me you spent $0 on them, it would have been crazy.
It reminded me of Juventus when they were kind of like a special team doing all these free transfers, but this is like another level. This is like a one transfer window, and the names, like you said, the names that they got is what has amazed everyone. But that guess puts more pressure on them on PSG this season. So it's going to be interesting.
If I told you that you would get Ramos, Messi, Ronaldo, Donnarumma, all for nothing.
It's an excellent piece of business. However, I don't agree with a lot of the narrative that's out there on social media that's saying PSG's transfer window was the greatest club has ever had. I still believe Real Madrid in 2009 had the greatest transfer window.
Yeah,
compare it for those of us that don't have a Real Madrid encyclopedia in our brains. What happened in 2009?
Well, 2009, Perez
in 2009,
came back for
you
his,
had Cristiano Ronaldo, Kaká, Xabi Alonso, Karim Benzema all go in.
At the same time,
And all of these players are in their prime at the time of being signed. You had the last two Ballon d'Or winners in Kaká and Cristiano Ronaldo. Messi is, it's Messi, but it is a Messi in his mid-30s. It is a Ramos in his mid-30s. So, don't get me wrong. It's probably the second best transfer window of all time. Around number one.
But when you look at that season for Real, they won nothing. So, unfortunately, all fell apart for them.
Is that a prediction for PSG this year?
Could be. Maybe not French League.
But
Champions League is what they want.
It is or it isn't.
Champions League is what they want. So we'll see. That's going to be the interesting one.
I love how it could be a prediction.
Now, look, when you bring that data up, I didn't know about the transfer window for Real Madrid. When you bring the data up, it's hard to argue against, mainly because of that. Yes, PSG brought in big names. Apart from Donnarumma, no one else is at their peak, but it's more big names than anything else.
You can argue Ronaldo's at his peak, but that's about it. I mean, Messi's Messi at the end of the day. You can't. He's obviously not at his peak. He's not 2011-12 Messi. Maybe even 15-16 Messi, but it's still Messi.
But Fatty, when Ronaldo, I wouldn't even consider him a superstar or a top-tier player.
He's not, but he came from a winning team. That's why. Came from a Liverpool team where he was part of it. He was an integral part of that team.
He wasn't even starting.
Well, he was the fucking Van Dijk was injured, so there you
Just
go.
on PSG.
Van Dijk's on another level, Paddy. Don't compare them.
Oh, don't mention.
Funny you mentioned Van Dijk. Your mate Alex Muscat was having a go at me the other day.
He always comes into this podcast. You always mention him.
I hope he was going to say he fucking said something.
He wants to know why he mentioned him so much.
Because he had a jab at me about Van Dijk because I said something to him. We were talking about. He said, "what's happening with Arsenal or some shit?" and then he got serious. He said, "You're someone who actually understands football, so don't make yourself sound stupid when you talk about Van Dijk." And he goes, "Van Dijk's the best centre back in the world."
You just don't respect greatness.
I'm just one.
You talk about PSG. The only one they spent on Ashraf Hakimi. Mm-hmm. They bought him. Another great signing on the right back position.
Yeah, playing his prime as well.
Yeah, and but also about players coming in. But a lot of talking about Mbappe as well, whether he was going to go to Real Madrid in this transfer window, and 180 million was offered, and then they rejected that. And 200 million was offered, and PSG said no, I'm not letting him go. So, there's a lot to talk about that because Mbappe is now he's wanted to leave to Real Madrid. He's had that in his mind, but PSG don't want to let him go for little. But it looks like they're going to have to either let him go for little or for free now.
I think what PSG are doing, and this is the way I look at it, right? A, they're not short of money. That's number one. B, for them, I believe the dream was to have that squad and to add Messi to it. So the fact that Messi comes in and Mbappe leaves, it sort of leaves them light there. And it defeats the whole purpose of that, I believe. If I was the fucking owner, I'd be like, well, you know what? I wanted to bring Messi in to have Neymar and Mbappe with Messi feeding them or playing with them. That's a dream team right there. So for Mbappe to want to leave, I'd be like, nah, no matter what. Like if I can, he's got that Arab mentality. He's just being stubborn. And he's like, nah, I want him to play together, and he doesn't care that if Mbappe doesn't end up signing a new contract, ends up going for free next year.
I mean,
At least he got that season out of them. Maybe if
me,
they win the Champions League, he might convince him to stay.
to me, it would be a colossal mistake from PSG, right? But at the same time, I don't think enough is talked about on how I think Real Madrid kind of avoided a colossal mistake themselves. I mean, 200 million for a player you could potentially get for free in a season, it was getting a bit ridiculous. How valuable are some of these players really? I mean, no one really realistically thinks Mbappe is going to replicate Cristiano Ronaldo's numbers that he had for Real Madrid, right?
I said the same thing as you, Akram, yesterday. I was saying someone's going to lose in this Mbappe transfer, because if Real Madrid paid 200 million this season for someone they could get for free, they would have lost. If PSG don't accept the offer, then they could lose him for free next transfer window. So someone in this negotiation is going to lose in the long term,
and lose big.
We'll see who it is. But as look, I'm not Mbappe. I don't play like him. I'm not as quick as him. Never was. But I just stop and think, if I was in his shoes, I don't know about you guys, but I would love to play next to Messi for 12 months and have that with me for the rest of my life, to say I played alongside one of the greatest, if not the greatest player of all time.
Well, the thing about Messi, like Mbappe, yeah, you got that point. Yeah, he's playing with Messi, one of the greatest players ever, and Neymar as well. What a time to be around. But do you think that he might be a bit upset that he thought that he was the star of the project for the future, but then Messi's come along, he's kind of taken the spotlight off Mbappe, and he saw it on the weekend where he scored the 2 goals, Mbappe, but all the talk was about Messi's debut. So do you think he feels like he's a third wheel in this? I think that's kind of...
I think partly, yes. We saw at the Euros, and we heard a lot about ego issues with France, and I wouldn't be surprised if Mbappe is part of that problem. I mean, Pogba's another one who's got a larger-than-life attitude and a big ego, and rightfully so. But Mbappe, I think it's gotten a little bit to his head. He's still young. He's still in his early 20s. He's still got a long career. You know, if he keeps himself, you know, fairly fit and injury free. But as I said after the Euro thing, he's still got to perform, because he was a massive disappointment during the Euros. Yes, he's still young. I would take this experience with Messi as a learning curve and learn from someone like Messi for a year. It's not going to hurt him. He's still got plenty of years to go to be the star. Like, it's a thing of like he wants too much too soon. And yes, Real Madrid's his dream move or whatever. But again, like we said, Real Madrid get him for free next year. They can still get plenty of years out of him. They can get an easy 10 years out of him, even if they get a good season.
If he stays injury free and that, yeah.
One player did come at his peak up to PSG was Donnarumma.
Yeah, and I mean, definitely. I don't know, like, how you can compare it, because you do have Messi, which is, you know, conceivably one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time, like you said, Johnny, in the same transfer, and Cristiano Ronaldo leaving as well. So we still have that to unwrap. But I think past them two, I think he's probably the third best transfer of the window.
Apart from the dollar signs, why would you go to PSG at that age from Milan, where you can be a club hero?
It's got to be the wages, man. I think it's got to be the amount of money he's getting.
He's going for less wages than what he was offered at AC.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. It was what would you call it? Like a slap in the face to AC Milan fans, because they could understand at least, all right, this guy wants too much money, he wants to be a star, whatever. But when it came out that he's actually getting less money than AC Milan offered, I think it comes down to the fact that one is a project that's being built, and there's a lot of potential pitfalls. In AC Milan, they could have a down year and all this kind of thing, right? Like, their success is not guaranteed. With PSG, you know, every year, they're not going to do an Arsenal and have a couple good years and then go down. They're going to just stay up every season.
Arsenal jab.
Comes back
it's what I live for, mate. It's what I live for. I'm sorry.
Bit of a stab there.
I mean, look, for me, moving to PSG for him, obviously he couldn't say that he went for the reasons of who he's going to play with, because he didn't know Messi was going to be there. Obviously, there's other players there. going for less money. I think it was also, from my opinion, that he would have been a little disoriented or disappointed with the manner of what happened or his time ending at AC Milan. Whether it was a stuff up with his agent, the club, whoever's at fault. There's obviously two sides to the story. The club saying that it's his agent's fault. Who knows? There could have been something from the club as well. So he could be a little disoriented from that. So you know what? And he's sort of shitty. Yeah.
I'm surprised with Donnarumma coming in. I'm a bit surprised Keylor Navas didn't seek a move elsewhere. I mean, poor Navas at Real Madrid was the number one. Then Courtois came in, took his spot, and now number one at PSG for a couple of years. And Donnarumma is going to pretty much take his spot too. So you think he'd kind of want to seek a move because he kind of knows maybe that he's going to be demoted to number two, but he's still there. Maybe wants to fight for his spot. Good on him, I guess.
And Navas will be a starting keeper in most teams out there as well.
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah. So just say yes or no for now. Give me a yes or no, and we'll discuss it at the end. Do you think Messi's transfer was the biggest of this window?
Yes.
No.
So what did you say, Darcy?
Yes.
So 3 yes and 1 no. Fatty always has to be going against everyone. That's just the way he is. All right, we'll discuss it a bit later on.
Why can't we discuss it now?
Because I want to go through all the transfers and then let's see what Fatty's argument lies.
All right, no problem.
Let's move on to let's touch on the Manchester City transfer window. Jack Grealish coming in. Obviously, a lot of talk about Harry Kane. Cristiano was linked to Man City. We'll touch on that a bit later on when we touch on his transfer. But Jack Grealish, Man City, is it a good fit, Fatty?
I think it is a good fit for him anyway. He's been already around in the English game. So it's not going to be too difficult to transition. It's not like going to Spain. A lot of English players have generally struggled going to Spain initially in their first couple of years. A lot have done that and they've not been successful. Italian game doesn't suit him. I don't see him going anywhere else. He was always going to move up to a bigger club in England. And Man City suits his style and suits the hype around him. There's no other club that would really manage that. Maybe a Man United, possibly Chelsea, although I don't see where he would have fit in Chelsea. Man City makes sense, even though they were stacked. They're very stacked there, but they would generally move other players on. Like there was a lot of talk about moving Sterling on. Surprisingly, I don't know why. Who was one of the best performers really for England during Euros. But Man City quickly churn players. They don't care. Once they feel like, Pep's not happy with them or he doesn't want them he doesn't see them in the long-term sort of plan, he'll slowly start to phase them out. You see him missing games, you see him sitting out, and they eventually start getting moved, or they get offered as part of a barter in terms of getting another transfer in. So will he do well? It'll be hard for him not to do well, considering the type of football and the players around him. It'll be very hard. Like, I'll be surprised if he fails. At the same time, he's not an out-and-out number 9, so he's not a striker, so you can't judge him by how many goals he's going to score. Say, he only scored 5 goals this year. What a flop.
Yeah, no, we watched him against Arsenal, I think it was, and he was a lot deeper. He was coming back to get the ball. Now, I don't know if he's got that pressing style that Pep likes in him, but definitely good on the ball. It's a different type of player to what Pep usually goes for.
He's more a creative player. So that's why I feel like there may be a little less pressure on him, because there's no way to quantify his success or say he hasn't scored enough or he's done whatever, blah, blah. So it gives him that little bit more of transitioning time. And as I said, the players around him, look at that Man City squad. It'll be very, very hard to...
Nah, 100%, man, 100%. He's a technically gifted player. He can play in all sorts of positions. He can play on the wings. He can play that attacking midfield role. He can play in any of those kind of spots. And, I mean, he's going to have such amazing players around him to help push him into success. He's going to be able to learn after one of the greatest centre midfielders in the world right now, in De Bruyne. They still haven't really nailed down who was going to be long-term for David Silva. And I mean, I think that, honestly, I think it's a great move for him. It's a bad move for the rest of the world, because I'm tired of Man City hoarding everyone like they're running out of stock. So, I would prefer to see Grealish go somewhere else, possibly. But anyway.
Staying in England, Darcy or Akram, you guys might know this guy more than we do. Tottenham signed the Spanish Ringo star,
Ruiz,
Brian Gill.
Gil.
He looks like a beetle.
Yes, yeah. I haven't seen much of him, but what did he say in his press conference? Something about he wants to win points or something. I don't know if it was true quite. Instead of winning trophies, he said, "I want to win some games and points or whatever." Not true. So maybe he thinks that he's not going to win trophies at Tottenham. I don't know.
Well, he's realistic straight away, so good on him.
Yeah. It was an interesting one to see because seeing how Spanish players from La Liga to EPL, a lot of them do well. A lot of them, some of them don't do well. They leave after a year or two, a year or less than a year. So it's going to be interesting to see how he adapts to the style, the quicker pace of the game. And under Nuno Espirito, the new coach for Tottenham, Portuguese coach, something that might suit his style as well, being that Iberian football there. So, but yeah, Tottenham are starting well the Premier League at the moment. Let's see if they can keep it up and actually finally win a trophy.
Typical Tottenham, they always start well. And then
Harry Kane's staying as well now.
Yeah, it's a big plus for them. Speaking of London clubs, sorry, go, Fatty, go.
Just touching on the Harry Kane thing, I don't know. I always find it weird when a player pushes and publicly comes out and says, "I want to leave," and it's well documented. It's not just a rumor, and then ends up reneging on that move or staying back. I mean, I don't know. To me, it looks like it sours that relationship a little bit. Some people might view it differently and be like, "Oh, you know what? Look, he's showing loyalty and whatever." I believe genuinely he did want to leave. Like, if the offer happened, if both parties agreed, as in both, Tottenham and the other club, he would have gone. It's not like he stayed because he loves Man City. He loves, Tottenham. But I don't know. For me now, if I was, the fan, I'd be like, fuck you.
I agree 100% with what you're saying. But I think after a couple of weeks as a professional, as a footballer, you just focus on what you're doing. You want to win. I mean, Messi said he wanted to leave last season. He stayed and he gave 100%. You've got Mbappe that, for example, said he wanted to leave to Real Madrid very openly and he stayed. So many times it happened where they end up staying for whatever reason. And I still think he'll give 100% and the relationship with the fans will still be good because it is Harry Kane as well.
I mean, yeah, I suppose so, but I kind of see more like what Fatty is saying, especially because I don't understand the concept of stopping players from going if they want to go. Like, just let them go. I mean, if they're not committed to your club and to your project, then honestly, what's the point?
I don't think Tottenham stopped him from going. I think negotiations just fell through between Man City and Tottenham for whatever reason. I don't know if it was personal.
Yeah, but I know what you mean. They didn't stop him from going, but Daniel Levy certainly negotiated pretty tough, to try to squeeze every dollar out of Man City. If he wanted to make a deal, if he was okay with making a deal, I think he could have got it done. And I mean, there was a number of number nines out there that in this transfer window that didn't actually move. Some really talented young players that were there on the offering who had either a good Euro or a good last season. Dusan Vlahovic from Fiorentina, Man City wanted, Tottenham wanted. Atletico Madrid looked like he was getting him at one point, and he didn't move. Alexander Isak from Sociedad, another player who had a great Euro, didn't move. I just
Dani Olmo was linked to Barcelona as well.
Yeah, from Leipzig, yeah.
He didn't go
to
either.
Barcelona.
I think so, yeah.
Otherwise known as having the worst transfer period of all time.
We'll get to that in a second. Let's just finish with Tottenham quickly. Romero, centre back, and Emerson from Barcelona, who signed a few weeks ago.
Emerson Royale. Yeah, I haven't seen much of him, but I've heard big things about him. So
look, he signed for 9 million. Barca bought him at 9 million, and then a month later sold him for 30 million. So
probably one of the best business I've had. But anyway,
yeah. Staying in London, Fatty.
Yes.
You had 2-3 signings.
Fucking what? Nothing. We're not going to talk about Ben White for £50 million. What an absolute joke of a signing that is.
What about Odegaard?
I'm confused about that one because initially when he came on loan, Arsenal tried really hard to sign him. Real Madrid refused and said no. They went back. from Madrid. I don't know if they realised that he wasn't going to be part of their plans and said, "Hey, do you want him back?"
Don't be confused. Florentino Perez's personal assistant right here can clarify everything for us. Number one fan, the Perez fan.
Number one fan, but about Odegaard, I think I mentioned to you guys offline in the WhatsApp chats and that, like, it's a bit disappointing with him in that he wants minutes, fair enough, but when you're at a club like Real Madrid, you got to work for it. And I thought this was his opportunity to work for it. And you got Modric, who's in his last year of his contract. You got Isco in his last year of his contract as well. You're going to have players that are going to get injured. Needs rotation. I felt that this was his opportunity to seize the opportunity and try to work his way into that lineup and earn them. But I felt like he just wants to just walk into that lineup and be a starter all the time. And he thought, I'm not going to get it here. And, let's go. I want to get a permanent move. And Arsenal's the one calling, and that's why he went back there. So, I don't know, I just feel like he's lacking that bit of that ambition to kind of succeed at that level. But I guess, if he doesn't want to work for it, then, good luck to him.
But just touching on Arsenal quickly, I know you mentioned Odegaard, which is a positive signing. A couple of other signings that weren't too bad. Nuno Tavares and Lokonga looks like he'll be okay, or he'll come to goods because he's still fairly young. But a couple of flops there, a couple of monumental fuck-ups. Ben White, £50 million from a fucking lower team. I can't justify that. Okay, he played a part in the Euros, and because he's an English player, naturally he becomes overpriced. Then we let fucking Emi Martinez go and signed fucking Aaron Ramsdale from fucking I don't know where, some championship club. I don't understand what's going on there. And then you've got players like, the youth players that want to stay at Arsenal and come out and say they want to stay, and then they get sent out. So Maitland-Niles, which is an Arsenal product, great young talent, great young prospect, doesn't get the minutes. The other player, which is...
Sorry, I saw Maitland-Niles put an Insta post up saying he wants to leave.
Yeah,
because he's been treated like shit. I don't blame him.
And he's going to Everton, or he was linked to Everton, or...
Yeah. But these guys are Arsenal through and through, Arsenal youngsters. The other one is Joe Willock. Wanted to stay at Arsenal. They sent him out on loan to Newcastle. Came back again. Didn't give him enough game time. Didn't include him in any plans. Now they sold him. Now he's gone back to Newcastle.
Friday as well, that William Saliba, I heard he's back on loan in France. I heard big things that he was supposed to be one for the future for Arsenal, but they sent him on loan again. So,
well, he's supposed to be the next big centre back, right? He's got all the attributes of a big, solid, tall, strong centre back sort of thing. And it's funny you mentioned him because the Man City game were absolutely woeful at the back. Callum Chambers was absolutely disgusting. Gets beat for the first goal by freaking, who was it? Gundogan. Was it Gundogan who scored the first goal?
100% he was. He was in my multi.
Who was almost a foot shorter than him, and he beats him in the air. So absolutely disjointed. Rubbish. The transfer policy, and we touched on this in the last episode, transfer policy at Arsenal, non-existent. So there's no positive signings here. You mentioned Odegaard is positive, but what's around him isn't going to help him.
You guys did help out your defense in the last couple of days, though. Takahiro Tamayasu from Bologna.
Bless you.
I saw that. I don't know much about him, so is it going to be?
You wouldn't. He's not an English Premier League team.
That's a second Japanese.
He's a good team.
Is it going to be another Japanese flop? We've had a few Japanese flops at Arsenal.
Inamoto, I remember him 20 years ago.
Yeah, Junichi Inamoto, Ryo Miyachi, another flop.
Let's talk about currently successful London teams. Let's talk about Chelsea for 1 second.
Here we go.
Champions of Europe right now.
Oh, yeah, so successful, mate. You sold Lukaku for like 30 million, and then how much you buy him there just now?
160
million.
Which
$500 million?
Chelsea just saw what Pogba did at Man United and wanted to repeat history. Yeah, look, it's not just Lukaku, but obviously Saul coming in transfer deadline day.
Is that a loan, if I recall?
It's a loan, yeah. It's a loan. It's a $5 million loan for with a €40 million option at the end of the next season.
That's a bit of a weird one, with a bit of a weird transfer. You think Saul when you think Atletico, I don't know how he will suit the English game. I don't know why he would leave Atletico. I don't know if he wants a challenge. He had space and he was an important starter for Simeone, so I don't know exactly why that move would happen and why Chelsea need him. But Lukaku, I think, is very important as a big nine. Top.
So looks like
look
Timo
up.
Werner on the way, well, not on the way out, but on the outside now.
On the way out, on the way nowhere. Who the fuck's going to take this guy? But yeah, Lukaku, look, obviously stupid business on Chelsea's part. I think they were too heavy up top during Lukaku's
Such stupid
time.
business, buddies. Such stupid business, mate.
Yeah.
They had a lot of players up there challenging in that spot, and they just kept loaning him out and whatever. And then obviously he wanted more regular football, so ended up going. But they plucked him back. They saw what he was doing. Saw what he did at Inter Milan. Obviously, he's going to be big for Chelsea. That big bully number 9 centre forward has always been an attribute for Chelsea, ever since before Drogba.
Hasselbank.
Yeah, and it works. It'll work very, very well in the English Premier League, especially with more skillful players either side of him or just off him. Chelsea will do very well with it. He'll do very well too. He'll be pulling in goals.
Like you're right. Like absolutely, they will. But I mean, I just can't believe the way this business has been done and the way some of these clubs are just operating. And it's so funny that you guys were talking about Arsenal last week. And I mean, like I wasn't on it thanks to the invite. But after the episode, if you read the comments on the YouTube channel, I mean, of course you didn't read the comments, Fatty. I'm silly. But I wrote that the thing about Arsenal and what Arsene Wenger did, right, is by not having like that much money, the way some of these clubs have, it reduces your margin of error. That whenever you start making mistakes, the mistakes are compounded because you don't have the money to make up for it. And like Chelsea are just a poster child for making mistakes on players and then just fixing it with more money and more money on top. It just boggles my mind. It does my head in. I'm so sick of seeing these clubs just spend the money because they don't competently know how to run a club, run their club.
You know what it is as well. It's impatience because
Badly.
but you have De Bruyne, and because he wasn't a full impact straight away, you let him go. You have Salah because not an impact straight away, you let him go. You have Lukaku because not impact straight away, you let him go.
And you're doing it now. You just let Tammy Abraham go to Roma, and he's already scored a goal and provided 2 assists in 2 games.
Even Zuma going to West Ham. That's a big team. I didn't expect that. Strong centre back.
He's a good defender, but I think for him, he realised that he's not getting much game time at Chelsea unless it's like FA Cup or Carling Cup. So
I get it, but why isn't he getting game
he
time? Because Thiago's there, and that's not a long-term plan. That's not a project. Zuma could be.
No, he's like 8 years old.
You've got Christensen, you got Rudiger there as well.
Rudiger's not young either now, though.
Yeah, he's getting late 20s. So.
Look, I know I'm jumping around a lot, but it's because this window was so big that there's a lot to cover.
There is.
So let's talk about possibly the second best team that went this transfer window, and that, in my opinion, is Manchester United. I think they signed very well. I think they did very, very well. Just Sancho and Varane were massive, and now to put Ronaldo on top of that, it's probably one of the best transfer windows they've had in a long time, if not ever. I'm not a Man United expert, but what do you guys think?
Huge, yeah. The Jaden Sancho transfer was going on for a while, actually. There were a lot of negotiations and talks, and finally that happened. And there was also a lot of talk of Varane for a while, and eventually, he didn't want to stay on at Real Madrid, wanted a new challenge. He signed on for Manchester United. And, that's 2 great signings right there. But then right at the end, you see Cristiano Ronaldo, who was close to going to Manchester City. No one thought that would happen. A lot of Man United fans were going to, call him a big traitor, and they want to turn their back on him, even after what he did for all those years. And then, I think what happened with Ronaldo, he got a lot of calls and messages from his former teammates, guys like Rio Ferdinand and Patrice Evra, convincing him to go back to Man U. And then it happened so quick. I don't know if you guys realize,
100%.
It just happened, and an official announcement came up, like, wow, welcome home. Cristiano, and it
I woke
happened.
up in the morning, the first thing I did was check to say, okay, did you sign for Man City? And then I thought, what? Man United?
Yeah,
What am I reading? What's going on?
Bit of a typo.
huge. And, you know, it kind of felt for me like if he was going to leave Juventus and he wasn't going to go back to Real Madrid because they realized that the time is done at Real. But I'm kind of glad to see him go back at Man United. I didn't want to see him at Man City, to be honest. You know, back at Man U, you know,
Look,
different type of play, of course.
I agree with you, and I'm glad he ended up at Man United because it's that dream tale sort of. It ended up being with the club where he was before. He was a hero.
Yeah.
I don't think it was his first choice. I'm going to be honest.
Wow.
So I don't think Man City went actively looking for him, but from what I've been reading, his agent went to Manchester City and offered Cristiano. I think he wanted to go to a team that was stacked the way Man City is and give them their first Champions League and be the hero in that regards. Man City needed a 9. It's a perfect fit. Because Man City didn't go chasing for him, the way I see, I may be wrong, obviously, is the club wanted him because marketing-wise, you want him in your team. Yeah. He's a great marketing tool. The hype, the attention, dollars. I don't think Guardiola or the football department of Man City would have been okay with him just walking in. That's where the stalling happened, in my opinion. It's not easy, like when you have a team and a change room handled the way you do, and a person like Cristiano Ronaldo comes in, it affects everything in the change room. It affects your game plan. He might not press or come back as much as Guardiola would like. Therefore, you need to start changing the game plan. The way Guardiola is and how obsessive he is, you start thinking, does it fit this game style? Does it fit here? Does it fit there? I think all that lagging, and maybe that's what Cristiano said, apart from what Adasi mentioned. I don't know if it's a perfect fit for me either, but I think number one choice for him was Man City, and it ended up being Man United, which I'm glad it did. What do you think, Akram?
Look, man, like I gotta say, I hear what you're saying, but if that's true, I think Pep and Man City have made a colossal mistake there. I mean, this is a Ronaldo that's turning 37 this year, right? He scored 106 goals in 132 games for Juventus. Like, I don't care what he does to your locker room. I think, you get a guy like that for a position of need. Like you said, they needed a 9, they needed a goal scorer. You get him and you figure it out later. They just gave Man United like such a huge boost because now that forward line for Man United looks so good. Jaden Sancho is not exactly that classic inside forward goal scorer. He doesn't mind setting up and being a bit more creative and providing assists. So it's going to be a match made in heaven for him.
Yeah.
Look, yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing how, if Man United, once they start clicking, you've got Ronaldo up front, and you've got Sancho, and then you've got Bruno Fernandes, and you've got Paul Pogba as well in the mix. And then at the back, you've got Varane and Maguire.
For this transfer period, like, it was really refreshing to see Man United actually behave like Man United in terms of the Man United we've always known. Because they've not been major players in the transfer window for a long time. I mean, they got Paul Pogba, that one, but like he always wanted to go back to make up for when he left and all that. So that felt like such a big outlier. Whereas I've never seen Man United since Sir Alex Ferguson left, really, dominate the transfer window and just pluck the players they wanted. And just players wanted to come to Man United. Sancho, Varane, etc.
We talk about Cristiano's age of 36, but we're talking about, in my opinion, possibly the greatest athlete to play the sport. So at 36, you see Zlatan at the age of 39 was still scoring goals. I don't think he'll slow down anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, you said it now. Like his style of play, his game has changed since from the Ronaldo, his first stint at Man United and his earlier stages at Real Madrid, where he was playing on the wing, cutting in, using his speed, and his technique. Now he's like playing up front most predominantly, so more of a target man. So they'll suit him. And then if he can bang in get his scoring boots on, stays injury free, have another great scoring run.
A couple of points here I'd like to touch on, just quickly about Man City. My opinion varies on what may have happened in that Ronaldo transfer. I feel that this was an agent game, a little mind game, and that the plan was, I don't think Ronaldo would have ever went back to Man City. Even if they actively said, come and we'll give you whatever money, I don't think he would have gone there. I know what you mentioned, Johnny, that he would have wanted to go and bring a Champions League there to then be some sort of hero and be like, look, Ronaldo came and bought us the first Champions League because they missed it last season. I feel like it was more of an agent mind game. And that the fact that the rumour came out that Man City was trying to sign Ronaldo gave Man United that kick up the arse to say, no. Man United legend or Man United, you've achieved all this with Man U. There's no way you're going to our rival. You're going to come back here. I feel it could have been something along those lines. That's just that. It's just an opinion, just a hypothesis. I didn't read anything about it. That's just the way I thought about it. With regards to Man United signings, I totally agree. Very, very good business. There's a shift happening at Manchester United there. I think finally this is the season, either this or next, where they'll finally turn and get out of that period where they struggled after the retirement of Sir Alex Ferguson. They had a lot of managers come and go. They stuffed around. Yeah, they finished a little bit here and there, qualified for Champions League, but not the same Man United. Didn't have the same pulling power or drawing power in the transfer market. Very good business at the back. Sancho, yes, was a protracted transfer for a while, but still a good signing. They look absolutely great on the pitch. I mentioned this previously when we were talking about teams and whatnot. I think was it after the first game of the season. I said, Man U stay injury free. They've got a real chance of being a competitor for the league. And now with the addition of Ronaldo, it only strengthens that, I believe. As you said, Ronaldo is the best athlete in world football. And at 36, turning 37, as you said, Zlatan did it. I don't see why Ronaldo couldn't do it for another 2 years at United comfortably. And possibly take them far in the Champions League, if not lift the Premier League. They're genuine contenders this year. Their midfield is stacked. Attacking, they're an absolute threat. They're scary. At the back, they've shored up a little bit with Varane. Luke Shaw obviously had a great Euro. So overall, they're looking at a fairly balanced team.
And just on Ronaldo and Sir Alex Ferguson, you might have had a word with Ronaldo just for that transfer, and then you see Ronaldo put a message up saying in his Instagram post saying, "P.S. This one's for you, Fergie." So a lot of
nostalgia there, a lot of sentimental stuff. But United, yes, very great in the transfer window this year, and as Akram said, the United of old.
The bomb of deadline day, to me, was the biggest surprise. I was not expecting this at all. Obviously, I'm referring to Griezmann going back to Atletico.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, everyone's aware of the financial issues that Barcelona is going through. I mean, Busquets, Piqué, and Jordi Alba had to reduce their wages in order to fit Aguero under the cap in La Liga. But no, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't expect Griezmann to be going the way he did. And on loan, and it's a big surprise.
Big shock, I didn't expect that. You'd think Messi leaving, that Griezmann will take on a bigger role at the club now. But this happened that he's gone back to his old club on loan, and they spent on him 120 million, if I recall. Was it a couple of years ago? So 120 million, and now they've got him back on. Atletico got back on loan. So you just got to wonder about the decisions that they're making there at the Barcelona board level with that stuff. So
I mean, I was expecting Griezmann to leave Barcelona all transfer window, because I thought the whole idea was for Griezmann to leave in order to try to help fit Messi in. And yet Messi's gone, and yet they're sending Griezmann off as well. So I don't know what they're doing over there. Maybe they're trying to liquidate the club. I don't know what they're doing, buddy. I got to tell you, it's a little enjoyable to watch as a Real Madrid fan, I got to say.
Well, and then not only that, but they also bought was it Luke Dion from Sevilla, who's been very underwhelming, very mediocre at Sevilla. You know, striker hasn't scored as many goals, and I've watched him play. He's missed so many opportunities and so many chances in front of goal, and to sign him, he got him and Braithwaite now up front with Depay.
Yeah,
I can't take that name seriously. Whenever you say Braithwaite, I just think of Daryl Braithwaite. That's
The horses.
That doesn't make sense to me.
obviously in this window as well, Aguero and Depay went to Barcelona. So you would have thought them three with Griezmann were going to be the front three after Messi left. But
surely, I mean, I get that. Like, to be honest, thinking about it though, I mean, I can understand because I think Barcelona's model is trying to go back to what made them successful in the first place, which was La Masia. So I think that they want to build around Ansu Fati. So you put Fati on the left, Depay and Aguero wherever else you want to fit them into the, into the formation. You got Pedri that had a fantastic Euro. Frankie De Jong. So I think they're trying to go back to a bit of a youth movement there. I mean, I was surprised. I just read right before we jumped on, Ansu Fati has the number 10 now.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
I think he's just come back from a long-term injury, so he has
It's a lot
started off.
A lot of pressure on the kid, but
I know.
Started off
be
pretty
honest-
good, and then he picked up an injury which kept him out for a while. So we'll see how he can come back from that.
I'm very, very surprised that Barcelona didn't retire that number 10, considering
They're
the
not
stature.
allowed.
you're not allowed to.
Why?
Because
You have to
Liga
play.
rules,
So not even a Liga, FIFA as well in the
1
World
to
Cup.
25 or whatever.
So what
Yeah.
if the players say? So what if every player says, "I don't want 10. No one wants number 10.
Yeah, it's got to be on the team sheet.
No one wants to wear it."
It makes no
Because
sense.
I know that,
and they
sorry.
went straight for the number 4.
In the past, Argentina tried to retire the number 10 from World Cups because of Maradona, and FIFA wouldn't allow it either.
But what if nobody wants to wear it? Everyone says, "No, I don't want to take that burden of number
You have
10."
to feel it. You have to fulfill it. In the World Cup, it's from 1 to 23, and you have to feel every number. You can't win number
So what about
76.
players that want to What about players that want to be number 99 and shit?
You can't. Not in the World
What do
Cup.
you mean?
No,
I've seen
Liga.
it. Huh? I've seen
No.
it. What do you mean?
Serie A is common with high numbers.
Yeah, I've seen it in the Serie A.
No, yeah, but not La Liga. And
La Liga.
it's an asinine rule because like Ramos left and they had to replace that number 4 jersey straight away. Like it's a heavy burden for the number 4 jersey for Real Madrid, the number 7 for Real Madrid, number 10 for Barcelona. It makes no sense, to be honest, at all. I don't understand that. But anyway, so Ansu Fati is their new number 10.
I get the significance of numbers linked to positions. Traditionally, yes, we understand that. 4 is a centre back, 7 is a winger, 8, 6 defensive mids, 10 is your playmaker. I get that, but there are exceptions. One of a kind players that, especially for a club like Barcelona, Messi, who grew up there, did everything that he did. The way it ended, I think that would have been the least they would have done. But anyway.
No, 100%. I totally agree because, like, we've seen many times now throughout history that the number as a symbol can be a big burden on players. I mean, the number 9 for AC Milan has become like this cursed number that anyone takes the number 9 hasn't been able to perform, right? Ever since Inzaghi left. And I mean, that's Inzaghi, no offense to him, but he isn't Lionel Messi.
They're going to say number 7 is all for Man United when Cristiano left in 2009. So many players came there, took the number 7 and just flopped.
Di Maria, Sanchez.
Depay.
Atletico Madrid as well. The Paul came from Udinese. I'm not sure where Cunha was before he signed for Atletico Madrid, but they're looking like a strong squad again.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the Rodrigo de Paul signing is a really, really good one. I think he's been a bit of a secret hiding away in Serie A and in Udinese for far too long. I think he's going to be, perform very well. I was really surprised that they brought Griezmann back. The way Simeone traditionally likes to play, and correct me if I'm wrong if he's changed recently, but I thought normally he likes to play like a bit of a 4-4-2. And where does Griezmann fit in with João Felix and Suarez? I think that you are risking hurting João Felix's progression.
Don't forget you've got Correa as well, Angel Correa, who scored 2 goals in the opening game and assisted in the second game as well. So he's on form. And Paul is someone who had a really good Copa America, but I think more importantly, he fits Simeone's style of just grabbing, fighting,
hard working,
in the middle of the park.
The There's a few notable transfers as well. I think just to mention, not really to discuss in depth, but just to mention them. Obviously, you mentioned Tammy Abraham to Roma. That's Roma lost Edin Dzeko, who went to Inter Milan.
Yep.
Giroud to Milan.
Yeah, Giroud going to Milan. Who else was there? There was another one.
Locatelli to Juventus.
Yeah, Locatelli to Juve as well. That was a big one. You guys got rid of Mich Batshuayi as well. I don't know where he ended up going.
We went to Turkey.
Went to Besiktas.
Speaking of Turkey, Falcao went to La Liga, back to La Liga.
He always made sense for me at La Liga. I always just felt like he was a La Liga player. He struggled at Man United.
Yeah.
Wait, Thad, you're forgetting. Real Madrid bought a player after 76 transfer windows and haven't spoken about him.
Camavinga.
I was talking about David Alaba, but yes, you can mention him as well.
Yeah.
Alaba for free.
That was one of the earlier transfers.
One of the early ones, yeah. He's doing all right, actually. First 3 games in the season, he's doing actually okay. For Real Madrid, Eduardo Camavinga, 18-year-old from Rennes, defensive midfielder, box to box, can play the box to box role. And they've been chasing him for a while. And then, Ancelotti wants him in the team straight away, not a loan back to Rennes. Wants him straight into the first team at Real Madrid. So maybe that transfer could mean Pogba going to Real might not happen, given that Camavinga's one for the future. And you got Valverde as well. So it's very exciting there, I think.
He's definitely a big talent, Darcy. Real Madrid's been chasing him for a while, right? And I was excited. And then I was reading on social media where Camavinga, apparently he didn't really have a very good season for Rennes. And he got dropped from the French national team. He got dropped from the under-20 French national team. And now he's making a big move to Real Madrid. It's a little scary now because this guy who's very young, very talented, is now going to one of the elite clubs, to the only elite club now in La Liga. So I don't understand what's going on. So I don't understand, like, if I feel like that signing was a bit of a reactive signing. Also, with touching on David Alaba, he's doing well, Darcy. He's doing really well, right?
Yeah.
But I don't like the fact that they signed him for 12 million euros a year. That's a massive contract for someone when you already have Rafael Varane for like 6 million.
Yeah, look,
what is that?
The wages, are a bit another something else. But in terms of for Real, just before we move on, Bale's still there. Last year of his contract, he will move on. And Hazard is still in the club, so there was talk about him going to Juventus on loan, but that never eventuated. So
yeah, I heard that.
Yeah,
there's a couple of obscure ones here that I thought were a bit weird. Didn't make sense to me. Shaqiri was one of them. Shaqiri from Liverpool to Lyon.
Yeah.
What the fuck's going on there?
Who also signed Jerome Boateng for free. Lyon.
So random. They picked up a couple of signings actually, which is interesting. I mean, not of the stature of PSG, but they'll make a bit of moves. They're obviously trying to challenge or be there and thereabouts, but I don't see anyone challenging PSG this year, honestly. If they don't walk that Liga this season comfortably by 8 to 10 points, then they've got problems.
One thing about the French league, though, I think Messi's going to find out is that it's quite rough, and the referees let go of a lot of challenges there. So he's going to feel it, I think.
Any other ones, Fatty, before we move on?
Yeah. Us again, bad piece of business. Arsenal, Lucas Torreira to Fiorentina on loan.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
William.
Fatty.
Sorry?
So you're not happy that he left?
No, I liked him. I like Torreira. I don't think he was utilized properly. And he got unfair criticism. So I would have liked him. Another player that got unfair criticism as well from Arsenal is Guendouzi, who went to Marseille. Look at him now, Marseille. I mean, I understand it's a different level in terms of the French league, but still, that tells me that something's not right in the dressing room at Arsenal.
No, 100%. I agree. I mean, like, to touch on Torreira, Fatty, I've always been a big fan of his. I loved him in Sampdoria. And so I was really chuffed to see him move to Fiorentina. because I want to see them do very well this year. They've brought in a few good players. They brought in the Nicolas Gonzalez, from the Argentinian player, Johnny. You
He's
gave a bit of a
scoring.
rap to. Yeah, he scored a goal. I was going to tell you, he's got a really good finish. He said he couldn't finish. You lied.
What about transfers? Going to the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich doing it again. First it was Upamecano at the back from Leipzig, and again Leipzig they get Sabitzer, the Austrian player,
And the coach.
and the coach Nagelsmann.
That's right.
Fucking Bayern Munich, man.
I was going to ask you, Fatty, do you like Torreira because he can relate, being the shortest player on the pitch, having to go hard?
He's a little dynamo, that guy. He's always working hard. I love his style of play, very energetic. I feel like we need someone like him in the middle, but I don't know. Like now is another one, Willian. They've let him go because now they're worried about. Apparently, it was a wage issue. So he's gone back to Corinthians.
He's gone to Brazil. Like the Brazilians are like 3 out of the 4 semi-finalists in the Copa Libertadores are Brazilian. There's just so much money in the league. The best players from Argentina going to the Brazilian league. They signed Dani Alves is there. I think David Luiz is linked or was going there. Willian now Hulk is there.
Hulk, yeah.
Yeah, but Willian took a massive pay cut. Willian at Arsenal was on £240,000 a week.
Yeah, you can't.
Obviously,
South America, it's not going to pay that, but still.
Yeah, but he had 2 years to run on his contract, so he could have sat there and said, "You know what? I'll take my money. Thank you very much."
You guys let go of El Neni as well?
El Neni's still there.
Still there? Oh, okay.
El Neni's still there. I'm not convinced by him. I'm not convinced by El Neni. You know who we got rid of? But I'm surprised. Hector Bellerin.
Yeah, I saw that.
Real Betis.
Why? On form, I would arguably say top 3 right backs in England, comfortably, on form. He had an injury. I understand. I think he did his knee or whatever it was, and he's supposed to be coming back from that, but didn't even give him a chance.
So, Fatty, I want to know now. Tell me, 3 of us said yes to Messi being the biggest transfer of this window. Which one do you say? Why do you say no?
Big was no, because I feel like there was no other option. The fuck up, yes, that happened with Barcelona, whatever the reason is, we'll never know, whether they couldn't offload enough players, La Liga pressured them and said, no, you can't fucking do this on the last minute. They fucked up. They didn't tie up the deal early enough, whatever the fucking reason was. Okay, point is, Messi wanted to stay. It only became apparent at the end that the deal couldn't be signed. When that came apparent, okay, and that Messi was going to move, there was only really 1 or 2 places maximum that he could go.
I get that, but big picture, transfer window, Messi going from Barcelona to PSG, in my opinion.
It's massive that he was leaving Barcelona, but it's not massive that, what a transfer, like, oh my God. It's like, fuck, who else is going to take Messi?
I think it was a big
But
impact.
the idea is how influential that transfer could be, because it is...
Yes, absolutely. Well, you know what? For both teams, yes, absolutely, I agree. Barcelona are going to suffer.
Is he the most influential signing made, the biggest in terms of the biggest impact on this season? And I mean, to be honest, I said yes, Johnny, but I can see I was going to say no with Fatty as well, but then Fatty said no, so I had to change my mind. But the idea was, the idea though is that one thing you got to give it to is that Messi's gone to Liga Ronaldo's gone back to the Premier League, which you always tell me is the best league in the world. So, which one's a bigger signing, Johnny?
The Messi move, for me, is going to, it's shockwaves, massive shockwaves across. And we said it the day that the press conference happened. We are experiencing football history right now. I mean, I was watching the news, obviously the Argentinian sports news, but it was being compared to the Maradona move into Napoli, the press conferences, the cameras following the cars going to the stadium, the presentation. It was a whole different level to me. It was because you thought Messi's going to be a one-club player. And Ronaldo went from Sporting to United to Madrid to Juventus.
I get what you mean from a historical moment, from tradition and from the impact and all that, right? But from a playing perspective, I think that you're slightly overrating the signing, because if he wins Liga, everyone's going to say, "Who? So what?" Now he only has.
I agree with you. I agree with you in that sense, footballing wise, and that's why I said it before. I think it was the perfect choice for Messi because Messi is more of a family person. The French life, that league would have been a lot more relaxing than the media hype in the Premier League. Or
Technically still close to home.
yeah, so
So what you're saying from a historical moment, from a significance, right?
that's where I was going
I
from.
get,
Yes.
I get, but from a sporting transfer, you could make the argument Cristiano's was bigger.
Question for you guys. Let's see. This is going to be an interesting one. If Messi stayed at Barcelona, do you think Cristiano would have pushed a move out of Juve?
No.
Nah.
I said this before. I mentioned this in the chat. I believe that Cristiano Ronaldo's move partly was to one-up Messi indirectly, whether he actively pursued that or not. Part of it has to be that, just purely because of the kind of player that he is and the kind of person that he is.
Ego.
Ego, absolutely. There was a lot of talk behind the scenes about Juventus and not staying, and as whether he was happy or not happy with the project and what's going on there. Fine, but for it to happen in the same window and that quickly, a little bit coincidental, surely. Are you telling me there wasn't something there?
Even as his post about denying going to Real Madrid as well, like it just felt like a whole heap of words just together, just to make it sound a big deal. But Real made it clear, like, great legend, great player, great what he did for the club, but we've moved on. I mean, Ancelotti made that clear. Yeah, so I don't know. He did kind of miss the spotlight a bit, and then he signs for Man U in such a short amount of time, and the impact of that, the reaction around the world was there to see.
But that's him signing for Man U is bigger talk than him signing for Man City, because for Man U you can always market he's back, he returns home, you've got that nostalgia, you got all that attraction around it. Oh my God, he's back to where he was. Oh, but as opposed to Man City, okay, he's going to a stacked team. I understand Man United has a good squad, but if he goes and does it again with Man United, he'll be a hero forever. They'll put a statue of him outside, I guarantee you.
When Cristiano retires, they need to get him a silhouette of Messi for his backyard, so he can continue to live underneath the shadow.
Johnny, I honestly think he wanted to leave regardless of what Messi did. I get what you guys are saying. It's very coincidental and it's very a little dodgy, right? But at the same time, if you look at that Juventus team, it's not a strong team. They barely could bring anyone into the transfer through the transfer window. They had to struggle to get Locatelli in. They had to get him on a loan, on like a 2-year loan, and then to pay the fee 2 years from now. That midfield in Juventus is really not strong at all, really, besides Locatelli. I mean, you've got Rabiot, Bentancur, and Aaron Ramsey. It's not anything to be too excited about. And as we saw on the weekend, they lost to Empoli. I think he saw the writing on the wall. This is not a very strong Juventus side. 3 managers in 3 years, I think. You went from Allegri to Sarri to Pirlo back to Allegri. I think he looked around and said, "No, I'm wasting my years here."
I think for Juventus as well, they might see the Ronaldo transfer now for 3 years there. They might see it as an investment that didn't quite pay off. Yes, definitely in terms of marketing, in terms of getting Serie A back. People talking about Serie A, the shirt sales and that. But in terms of trophies and success, I mean, the Champions League, they were offered the quarterfinal, second round knockout, being eliminated at that stage, and then you've got in Serie A, they just lost the title for the first time in 9 years. So maybe they're saying, maybe it wasn't quite the best.
They didn't look at it as an investment that paid off. Like, I totally agree with you, right? But I think another little wrinkle of this is that I don't think Juventus were very upset to see the back of him. Not because he caused any controversy or anything, but his wage was really starting to weigh that club down, and they need to obviously make a lot of major reinvestments into different parts of the squad and get that squad younger, right? So I honestly think that this frees them up to go into many different directions. Like I said to you guys the other day, a year from now, Haaland, 75 million. Look, let's be honest, Premier League clubs could probably going to buy him, but the opportunity that exists for Juventus to go into those different positions. Cristiano, I think his wages were just weighing them down. They couldn't make any moves.
There's
And the pandemic as well didn't help as well.
There's a lot of other things that we haven't even touched on, like the rumors that happened, the transfer that didn't go through, Guardiola coming out saying that after Man City wants to coach a national team. There's all these other talking points that we've run out of time now. We didn't even get through the whole episode of everything we wanted to cover, but it just, once again, and I keep repeating myself, but it's an indication of how big this transfer window was, because I don't think we'll be able to cover as much in any of the previous transfer windows. The pandemic in the last couple of years played a big part. So is this a sign that things are going back to normal in regards to the finances of the club, or is everyone just desperate right now?
No, not at all, Johnny. I think this is a massive paradigm shift to how clubs sign players and how players look to sign contracts. I'm getting the feeling, and now maybe I'm over-exaggerating, but I feel like transfer fees are starting to become obsolete, because why would a player leave now, right? So Donnarumma, last year he could have left, but the whole point is wait until you're a free agent, sign a larger contract, because in the end you're saving that club 60 million for a transfer fee, and then you get to pocket more in your contract. David Alaba was a free agent signing, and because of that, he got a 12 million a year contract. That's not a contract he, in terms of value, should really earn. Regarding his age and his status has declined slightly, but because they didn't have to pay 20-30 million on him, you can put that into the player, and then the agent gets to take a larger cut of the transaction, right? So I think we're going to start to see like other sports, like American sports, where players aren't going to leave for transfers, but just free agent signings.
I agree, and I don't like it, but we'll get into that, I think, in another episode, because it's a whole different discussion. I think it's a very rich one at that as well.
Very rich one.
Just like the goals that I've got here, Fatty.
You're right, Akram, I agree. I think, especially with the pandemic now and the way of the future, it doesn't make sense now. As you said, players also get sign-on bonuses, so there's a bit more for them there. Instead of paying 200 million for Mbappe, they'll tell him, hey, listen, come next year on a free, we'll give you 50 million. Your agent gets fucking 20 million. Plus your wage. 100%.
Agents are playing a bigger role these days, and they're
100%.
rubbing their hands down all these transfers that are happening, the fees that are coming to, and then they're getting their slice of it, their slice of the pie.
We're living in the wrong country here. On that note, guys, thanks for everyone for coming back. Thanks for another big episode. Massive episode, this one. A lot of talking points, a lot of disagreeing respectfully, which I like.
Okay.
That's what I like to hear. Akram, last words before we go.
Guys, as always, please like the video. Say a comment. I don't know why Fatty laughs every week, man. It's quite a tradition here.
I didn't laugh about it last week. Actually, I did laugh about it last week.
I did it the week before. I had a go at it.
It was very good. It was very good. Please like the video. It really helps the channel grow. Give us any comments on ideas for topics. Johnny was telling us the other day that someone sent in an idea for a topic for us to do in a few weeks, right, Johnny? And I thought that was a really, really interesting idea for us to explore one day. So we'd love to hear them. Keep them coming, guys.
All right. Thanks, guys, once again, and see you guys next week. Bye-bye.